Sitting behind me is my massive O-gauge model train layout that I got together just in time for this holiday season. This layout includes 2 O-gauge train loops, some lighted buildings, some street lamps, and a massive mountain that I built from scratch. My name is Seth, also known on YouTube as Toilet, and let me take you on the journey on how I built my dual train O-gauge model train layout. I'm going to be posting 2 separate videos depending on how much you would like to watch. We have the longer video and the shorter video. The longer video is going to go more in depth on building this and everything. And the shorter video is going to go much quicker, just so if you wanted to see it through quicker, depends on your liking. So let's get started. This is going to be the longer video. So to give you a little backstory, back in October of 2022, after my grandfather passed away, he gave all of his model train stuff to my mother, who then passed it on to me sometime in 2023. Bins upon bins filled my garage, all holding little pieces of my grandfather's history, and I knew I eventually wanted to do something with it. So in November of 2024, we finally cleaned out the garage and I got working on my first iteration of the train table. After making sure all the locomotives worked, I started building and building, going through plenty of trial and error. This was a new field for me, so I was learning as I went. I built a nice ramp, did some sloppy wiring, but after months of work, I had finished my first table, and this is what it looked like. So I had it running last year, worked perfectly, did all the wiring myself. And then after our Christmas party last year, I just kind of, let it be. We moved it around a little bit, had to clean the garage up. You don't want to see the rest of my garage. It is not that clean. But this year I want to spruce it up a bit. I have a plan and everything. Hang in there. We're going to get through this together. Okay. We're going to try our best because I'm going to be doing stuff that I've never done before, but I like the challenge. So what are we going to be running on this train? On this track. On the center line, we have this Great Northerner train. It is a big beefy train. This one's heavy. Along with 4 of these passenger cars that light up and everything when the train is running. It is super cool. And then on the bigger track, we have this classic Coca-Cola train. This is one of my favorite trains that he had. Amazing Coke train. I don't remember what year this is from, but I'll look it up. I'll put it on screen for you. And then that will have these classic box cars. Nice little Sprite, classic Sprite. I also have a Fanta and an older Coca-Cola brand that I don't even know about. But here is the plan for the table. Now the plan in theory is kind of simple. I'm going to basically just mess with the longer track. This bottom track here is going to stay the way it is. That one works fine. We're not going to mess with it. We're going to mess with the longer track, the one the Coke train is on. As you can see, it comes up here and there's a nice little bridge there. Yeah, it's pretty nice. The problem with that is because the train is so old that it struggles to get up the initial rise. So what I want to do is I want to raise it all up. I want to raise all of this track up off of the table so that it has a clean sweep around. We see, oh my God. As you can see over here, these are our controllers here. We have 3 of them, one for the outer track, one for the inner track, and one for the lights. And as you can see, the bottom goes up and goes up this hill and comes around. That's the hill I was talking about. That it struggles to get up. And then once it goes around, it speeds down that way and it comes in way too fast here. So I want to change that up a little bit. And then to bring it up another notch, I want to put a mountain right there in that corner. I kind of want to put one in that corner too, but we'll start with that corner, so that either that can pass through it or that can pass over it. Because this year at Walmart, they have this amazing mountain set that just looks like the top of a mountain with a nice little gondola and everything. And it sings songs too. I don't know if that's copyrighted, just pretend there's Christmas music there, okay? But that is what inspired me to do the mountain. So that's gonna go up there. It's gonna look real nice. We're gonna wire it up, make sure I have stuff to do it. So the first thing I want to do is get this stuff lifted off the table. I want to get it lifted up first and just make sure the train still runs. I bet it does, but I just want to test it. Now there's a few problems with that. The track in the back is nailed down. There is the grout. Is it called grout? I don't know. There's the stuff, the pebbles and stuff on the track. And there's also cork board underneath the track that is glued down. So I have to rip all that up. And then problem number two is these tracks are sitting on these Lionel Fast Track risers, but I don't have enough of them to cover that entire backside. These are made for Lionel Fast Track. Now, that is an easy solution because I have a 3D printer and I can just print more of these. And then what I can also do is I can print plates that can slide into there. There's also a screw here that I can use, and that can just sit on top of that. The track can go on top of that. Bada bing, bada boom. That is my plan for that. So what I'm going to do is use some of this extra lumber I have, cut out 5-inch tall segments of this, and that is what I'm going to use to hopefully hold up the track enough. I also have to get this up. This ramp is made with paper mache and it is stapled and glued to the table. So I'm gonna have to remove that entire thing to then make sure everything is up the 5 inches it needs to be. Okay, let's get going. We're going to start sawing and, get her done. So for some reason my time lapse didn't record, but there is my pile of supports right there alongside a pile of sawdust because I was just using the side of this table. And yeah, that hopefully should be enough. If not, I have more wood. I just got to get the track and stuff up and hopefully, actually do a time lapse, which would be nice. This is so crazy to see it like this. You could definitely tell this was the original paint color, this green, this lighter green here. And when I put the ramp in, I went back to get more spray paint. They didn't have the same colored green, so I did a darker green, and you can see that little edge there. But we'll fix that later. That's not what we're worrying about right now. I just got to get all of these itty bitty staples out. That's what was holding down the, oh, ew, my finger looks gross. Got to get the staples out. This is what was holding down the chicken net. I just got to get all of those up, and then we can start laying down, all of my wood and seeing if I can get the track to properly sit on it. So I won't show you this part, but you'll just skip to where I'm putting the wood down. Okay? Okay. All right, I got the track lifted up, and I did make exactly enough of these wooden pieces, so definitely did that on purpose. Now what I want to do is I want to wire it up and get at least the train just by itself, no cabooses, cars, just to make sure it still works. I highly recommend not doing it this way because these are not supportive at all. But luckily I'm not going to do the train that fast. I'm just gonna make sure it still goes around. This is also so I can kind of map out and see where the corner is in this section because that's where I'm going to be making the mountain. I might make another small little hill over here, but we're not sure yet. I just kind of want to get the mountain here first. All right, so let's hook it up. So for the power, I am using 2 of the Rail King transformers, the Z controller, sorry. This one says inner loop. My grandfather put that on there. I'm using this one for the outer loop, and then this one for the inner loop, because this is 750. I believe this is 1,000. They have these very easy ports right here. And then I'm also connecting them to these amazing track lock-ons, which my grandfather had, thank goodness, because I do not want to solder wires to the rails. So I have one here connected to alligator clips, connecting to a couple sets of wires. They should go to this one here, which will be like right about here somewhere. And then the second one is about in the middle of the circuit. That way, everything gets about an even amount of power. You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm doing with my hand. So we just have to easily I think this is still wired up properly, so I just have to get these, connect to these, or that, and then we can run a train, hopefully. All right, we are all hooked up with my main man, the Coke train. And now all we need to do is hopefully twist this and we'll see it moving. Oh, I don't know how well you heard that. That's not supposed to be that loud. Because if you turn it up too much, pop. Yep. Something is wrong. Okay, that was my fault. So you see this one here. Yeah, you see how it's in the middle and not all the way across the tracks. I had this one all the way across. So if you put it like this, it should work now. Let's try it. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, we got a small little buzzing from this guy. Doesn't sound great, but hello, train. Oh my goodness, it wants to. It's because it's so cold. It's been so cold here the past couple days. It wants to. It wants to go. Go, my child. Go. Go, my child. Yes. Oh, there we go. It also probably doesn't help that these tracks are not the cleanest, to be honest. I need to clean all these tracks. Again, this was also mainly just to fix this around a little, just to get a general idea of this area here. So I think it's time to go on to the next steps. So the next step is going to be actually on the computer. We are going to be remaking these here, mainly just this brown part right here. But yeah, and then I think I'm gonna need, we'll say 30. Go with 30 because actually we'll go with 25 because this middle area is gonna be something different. It's not gonna be these. It's gonna be a bridge. What's up guys, me from the future here. Just wanted to pop in and say that I actually did not need any of these extra support pieces. I modeled them and printed a bunch, but in the end, when I needed them, I had enough of the ones I had already, so kind of a waste of time. But here is the model, and here is what the print looks like. If you would like the STL file, let me know. I'll put them in the description. But for now, let's work on the mountain. So for the mountain, I wanted it to be easily removable from the table, so I cut out a base using poster board and built everything on top. I first started by cutting a bunch of supports from sturdy foam that are both wide enough to fit my train on and tall enough to match the height of the rest of the track. I glued them all down to the poster board using wood pieces as supports to help stand them up or weigh them down so they'll stick. Because if you did not know, hot glue and foam do not mix well, and if you use weaker foam, it will instantly start melting through it. So I had to make sure I put them down quickly and correctly. After all of it was dry, I decided to paper mache the top since A, I didn't have thin enough cardboard, and B, it was easy and shows how you can do this at home. Was it the best option? No, because it wasn't super strong against the foam, but did it work well enough? Yes, and that's what I care about. Once the paper mache dried, I put the track and train on it to make sure the holes I cut out were big enough and I wasn't going to hit anything. These cardboard tunnel pieces are the same size and shape as the tunnel portals I am using, which I also 3D printed. They also have a small little Easter egg, my initials. I also made sure to enclose it as best as possible, but didn't do the back until the very end so that I could easily get into the tunnel if my trains decided to stop in it. I then went and did a small layer of spray paint inside, as well as spray painted my portals. Also, this little piece is just to make sure the track is level throughout the tunnel. Finally, I used some more extra strong foam to make this bridge, I guess you can call it, because that is where the mountain piece is going to sit, and obviously cardboard wouldn't be heavy enough. Alrighty, so I got the tunnel skeleton done, I guess you could say. Train will go through there, and I'm gonna have the tunnel bores here, tunnel portals here, and then this will be just kind of like a platform for the trains to go on to the, hold on, ciao, for the trains to go onto the bridge and go off that way. I know it's kind of a mess here, but look at that. What is the, but I just got to kind of trim this to a shape of my liking. Used old trusty cardboard because this, you know, it's just gonna be the platform. I don't really need to paper mache anything. I can paint that later. So we just gotta do the same on the other side there and then start actually forming the mountain. You know, it'll be kind of neato burrito. Here we go. For the skeleton of the mountain, I just used some poster board from a trifold display and hot glued it in place to get the general shape of the mountain. Once the supports were all in place, I tried using spray foam inside the gaps, but I failed to realize that gravity was still a factor, and that one can didn't even fill in the gap completely. It expanded way too much at the bottom, so I just chipped away as much as I could and decided to just fill in the gaps with all the extra foam I had and then shave it to form a shape that I like. And this worked so much better. After shaving it all down, I used a homemade modeling compound that you can make from toilet paper, plaster, and water to start texturing the side. I made a decent amount, but it still was not enough. This mountain was a lot bigger than I expected. Rather than taking time to make more, I resorted to plaster cloth that I got last year but never used. This stuff is like extra strength paper mache, and it worked so well, I went and bought 2 more rolls to finish off the mountain. Once all of it was dry, I spray painted the whole thing in gray and was ready to move it back onto the table. All right, the mountain is done drying, or at least it is almost there. I think it's just cold because it's cold here right now in Florida somehow. But since this is done drying, it's basically ready to be moved over. I just got to trim up the bottom, like there's like paper underneath. I just got to trim up, and then I can transport that to its corner where it belongs. And then the mountain's not done, okay? I still need to put a snow blanket over, so like most of this is white. I have to see what I'm doing with the back because the back is just kind of bare right now. I just have to do like little details here and there. My only complaint is that I didn't trim this back enough so that this kind of sits back into the mountain rather than being flush. Look at my poor purple scissors covered in the stuff from the plastic cloth. Okay, here we go. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh man. Okay, this is a lot heavier than it was when I first started. That is for sure. Oof. Oof. Okay. Oh my God, that's perfect. Oh. Jesus. Yo, that looks that looks really good actually. I mean, I definitely need to do something with the back because you can definitely see into it right there. But holy, oh, I'm so proud of this. It's so cool. Okay, mountain is in place. This thing is amazing looking. The only problem I had was, I guess the glue or the paint or the plaster kind of tightened it up a little bit, or I had something underneath here because I had to push this down. It came a little bit separated there, but that's okay, hardly noticeable. So next, what I want to do now that I got everything ripped up and spray painted at least a decent amount, I want to now just start placing stuff down, seeing where they're going, because I have, after the mountain is the bridge, and then there's going to be a hill on that side, and I have a plan for that. So for this corner over here, I wanted to do a hill and then maybe put like a little house on here on the corner. Now the mountain took me a lot longer than I thought it would. So to make this an easier process, I'm going to use these wood blocks and kind of stack them up kind of closer together right after the bridge, probably up to maybe here. And then what I thought would be a good idea, if I can find it now. So I'm gonna stack them up and then cover them in just this green fabric. I got a little too dark, but that's okay. And I could just like lay the fabric down, cut it to my needs, and that way it's just easier and quicker, and I can still have the train run and the house over here. I think that'll work pretty well. I got 2 yards of this, hopefully that'll be enough. It should be. I kind of measured it out in my head when I was buying it, and that always works out well, you know. But yeah, so I basically just this is kind of like the next step, getting everything put in, because I still have some 3D prints to do for the bridge, and then if I have time, clean the rails in the center one and get that all taken care of. For the bridge, I found an awesome model online, shout out to this guy, and slightly altered it so I can fit my track in, as well as cut it into pieces so I can 3D print them. And once I glued all the pieces together, this is what the final product looked like. I just had to print another one and then spray paint it. For the freestanding track supports, I am using these elevated trestles by Lionel. Now these are made for fast track. These are meant for that, and it'll click in right at the top. I have all this O-gauge track, and I'm not buying the fast track. Now, what I did last time was just put pieces of cardboard there, but that looked messy. So I went ahead and modeled and designed my own form of fast track, specifically for my 027 gauge train. And they perfectly clip into here with some pressure, just like that, and it is perfectly clamped onto there. With these track beds, you can easily clip in one of the O gauge rails. As you can see, it sits very nicely in there, but it still comes up. That's where these little holes come in. That is why I designed clips that can easily push into these holes right here, just like that. And now the track isn't like, some of these tracks are bent, sorry, but that holds the rail in place, and then you can connect them basically like puzzle pieces. And I'm gonna be doing that for the majority of the tracks. Now that we have all of our track cleaned and all of our beds printed and all of the trestles that we need, let's start getting things in place and seeing how this layout looks so far.
After this, it was just rinse and repeat, putting the track together, but I started to run into a lot of little problems, so I didn't record much. I'll just use my magic snap to help me place everything down.
All right, that took a lot longer than I had expected, but I got all the track bed laid out and everything all the way around. And I also have this lovely DIY type mountain deal here. What I did was I basically just put a bunch of the wood stands all the way around. And then I got, like I said, this felt, and I put it over. And then I had this little guy sitting around, so I put him up here. He doesn't move or anything, he's supposed to, but all the wiring got messed up. So he's just gonna sit there and chill at his house, forever mowing his lawn in one spot, but that is okay. But I have all of these and connected. None of these are down yet. But I still have to do a little bit of maneuvering and everything. But since everything is clean and sanded, I have my Coca-Cola lovely guy over there. I also cleaned his tires, hopefully enough. And while I was at it, I also cleaned and sanded this middle track and put that all back together. As you can see, I have my other train over there ready to go to test and everything. And I have both of the control boxes over there. So let's go to that side and see if we can get these trains running. This is a very exciting step. I'm very excited. Alrighty, so I got the 750 going to the middle track through one of the connectors here, or the lock-ons. And then I have the Z1000 going to this lock-on and this lock-on. We'll test the inner train first. Oh, there it goes. Oh my goodness, there it goes. It is still pretty loud, but it shouldn't be going that fast in general anyways. Oh, but look at that. And then this one actually has a horn and a bell. Look at it. There it goes. Center track. Super easy. Thank you, middle track, for being easy. Excuse me, squeezies. Now for the main event. Will my Coke train run its course? 3, 2, 1. Oh, it wants to. I can hear it. Oh, there it goes. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so nervous. Here it comes. I'm nervous about the tunnel. Oh, it got stuck. There it goes. And out the tunnel. Yes! Okay, so that is a huge milestone for this table. We have come so far and we are so very close to the end. There's still little things that I still have to complete, like putting the topper on the mountain, covering the top in snow, getting all of these things screwed down as best as I can, you know, because I don't want that. That's not how that should be. So I got to get all those screwed in. I have wood screws for that. I have to attempt to try the trains with their cars. Other than that, the small things. The next big thing that I have to do is to clean my garage. We have a party in a couple days, and I'm not going to show it to you. Imagine just like a bunch of styrofoam and random crap sprawled out on the floor. But after I clean my garage, I have to get underneath here because I have to wire everything. This does have lights, ladies and gentlemen. These houses are just regular Christmas porcelain houses, which have a bulb in the back so they can light up. These small houses, they need to light up. Those lampposts, they light up. And I have some more that I also need to put down. The guy in the corner, snow plowing his lawn. If I have time, I will get to him, but I'm not promising anything. Sorry, my dude. But let's get everything cleaned up. Let's get everything wired up. And then I'll show you the wiring. I'm not going to show you the whole process because it's just basic wiring, you know, like we will do what we got to do. Okay, here we go. 1, 2. Okay, real quick, because I already put everything back underneath my table. This is the power strip that powers everything. And for the lighting and everything, this wire goes through all of that. Those are all of the lampposts and continues up this way to just some extra stuff, as well as these 3 things right here. The other couple plugs go to all of the houses with the bulbs and everything, as well as the little houses down here. Very spotty work, definitely very sketchy, but it all works. And to prove it, let me show you the finished table. Alrighty, so that is my completed train table build. I think it came out super freaking cool. I love the mountain and I love how that all works with the colors up at the top. And sorry I didn't film any of me putting snow down, but it looks amazing. And I had gotten it done just in time for my party. But sadly, only about 5 people showed up out of the 20 to 30 that we invited. But that's because a lot of people were working or had prior stuff happen that they couldn't make it. No big deal. We still had an awesome party, and the people who came absolutely loved the train table, and I hope that you do too. Very quickly before I end the video, there's 2 major problems that I saw on this table. On the corner over here, there is a little bump in the track, so the cars kept getting disconnected in the back, and also the Coke train also still doesn't run perfectly. I think it's just because it's old and needs some cleaning done, both the track and the wheels to have a better connection, but the fact that it all worked is fantastic. So if you guys enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and a subscribe. Hopefully I will work on it a lot next year as well. And everyone, please have a happy holidays and a happy new year. Stay safe out there, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.